James Fambrough, CEO of KlikBelts, the most durable and reliable belts for military, law enforcement, and first responders. In this episode of the Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, I had the honour of chatting with none other than James Fambrough, the mastermind CEO behind KlikBelts, the brand that's redefining strength and reliability in belts for our everyday heroes. The world's strongest belt. James took us on a journey from KlikBelts' humble beginnings as a GoFundMe project to creating what's known as the world's strongest belt. Imagine a belt so tough it can pull a full-size Ford Bronco uphill. For the brave. We delved into how KlikBelts has become a staple for military, law enforcement, and first responders. Their belts aren't just accessories, they're lifelines in emergency situations. Innovation at its finest. James introduced us to their latest creation, a 3-ply belt designed for carrying heavy firearms, plus a sneak peek at a new polymer buckle that's TSA friendly and incredibly strong. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. KlikBelts stands by their quality with a bold 100% money back guarantee. That's confidence you can wear. Beyond business. It's not all about sales for KlikBelts. They're committed to giving back, supporting organisations that help our firefighters, police officers and military families. What's next? James teases with future product expansions, including tactical slings and tool belts, all the while keeping true to their mantra of quality over gimmicks. This show is packed with stories of innovation, dedication and a relentless pursuit of quality that's sure to inspire. Whether you're in the line of duty or just demand the best in your gear, KlikBelts is a brand that's got your back, literally. You can find James at KlikBelts.com, and the link is below, and on Insta at Instagram.com/KlikBelts. Link is below also. Thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former New Zealand Special Forces operator, subject matter expert from hownotodie.com.au. And you're listening to my Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, sponsored by these guys, MyState.com. The ultimate daily formula for optimum hormone health, stress management, energy, and performance. 100% natural and clinically proven ingredients, it provides everything you need to raise your game in a convenient, gut-friendly capsule. Links for my former shows are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching. And we're live. Welcome to the Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, and welcome to my guest. Very honored to have the CEO of KlikBelts, James Fambrough.
Hi to everybody out there, and good to see you again.
Look, thanks so much. One of your compadres, Travis, connected us, and I looked into your claim to fame, and I love it. Literally in the header of the show, it says, I interview the best people in the world at what they do, and you've got the world's strongest belt for military,
Absolutely.
law enforcement, first responders. That's a big call, but I love that because somehow I managed to find the best people in the world at these things. So, world's strongest belt, let's throw you straight into it. Talk to us about that.
Well, it all started, actually, I'm the 4th owner of the company, but I've been pretty much with the company from day one.
Wow.
Since it was created. So back in the year 2016, 2014, sorry, KlikBelts started out as a GoFundMe project.
Wow.
A kind of a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it actually hit its goal, and that got the project rolling. And then the second owner came in 2 years later and bought the company from the first owner. And then that's where I come in. Is he comes to me, and at the time I was working for a very large marketing firm, and he's like, "Hey, I've got this great belt, and right here, this is the original Klik belt. It's a single ply belt." And he goes, "Yeah, I just want to make this for the average Joe, walking down the street." And I go, "You have no idea what you're holding in your hand, do you?" And I said, "That belt is for heroes. This belt is for firemen. This belt is for police officers." And he doubted and doubted, but we went down that path. And the first demographic we spoke to was firemen.
Wow.
And I literally went to fire departments and, hey, nice truck. What do you like in a belt? What do you not like was the big question that we asked. And we listened and we took those notes. Then I went to the police officers. I went to the military, all of the branches of military. And I'm a former Marine,
Oh, wow.
United States
Awesome.
Marine Corps. And I've also been a police officer. And I actually uh, got out of law enforcement and went into marketing.
Mm.
And they said it was because of my sense of humor that I should go over there. And but I also had special needs myself. I can't wear just any belt. I can't go to a big box store and buy a belt off the shelf and wear it because it actually causes me pain
Wow.
due to a lower back injury I received. And so we take that into consideration. So when we design our belts, we make sure they're comfortable. That's the number one thing. And ours twist where they need to twist. They move where they need to move, but they're rigid where they don't. And so that's one big thing we took into consideration is comfort first. But then when we teamed up with our friends in Austria, Austria Alpen, um, we got their buckles and we were just blown away with the different things that they were willing to do for us. And we're one of the very few companies that actually has multiple colors available.
Yep.
We've got everything from black to our gold, we have red, and we're one of the very few companies who have gunmetal specifically made for us.
Now, those buckles, James, you know, when I
Mm-hmm.
was in the military, in the special forces, we just used a standard rigger's belt, and we
Yes,
use that as a gun belt.
right.
Some guys did carry a dropper holster.
Yep.
I carried a chest holster, was a bit faster there, but still had the gun belt for other things. Um, and also using that rigger's belt for you know, tying into the helo and things.
Yep.
Now that I left in 2009, things have progressed there to actual war fighter belts and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how talk to me about the world's strongest belt part with that Cobra buckle, because I'm not used to it.
Okay, so the Cobra buckle, just as an example, the average buckle is rated at 18 kilonewtons of stress braking force.
Hmm.
So the buckle itself can suspend a massive amount of pull and a massive amount of weight. And speaking of a rigger, I have one here in my hand
Yep.
for you. This is their version of the rigger where the D ring folds
Yes.
like that at an angle. So it's more form fitting to the body, but they're girthy buckles when you
Yeah.
get into the big riggers. And the funny thing is these are both rated similar,
Wow.
both the small and the large. And so the only difference where we really see a big difference in the Cobra buckle line when it jumps in strength and dips down is in their poly Cobra. So this is a completely no metal Cobra, but it's still rated, at half the strength basically of
Yep.
the actual Cobra. And we the one thing, like I said, that made the Cobra great was its strength. But then we run into a problem with the way belts have been manufactured and the way they've been made is we had to make the nylon just as strong.
Right.
And it's not a gimmick. Being the world's strongest belt is not a gimmick to us. We look at how it's stitched, how it's put together. If you're in an emergency situation, we don't want you second guessing what you're tying in with, what you've got wrapped around your waist.
No.
One of our demonstrations that we did, years ago was we went to the Las Vegas Strip, rented a crane, got a car out of the junkyard that still had the motor, all of the stuff in it, wrapped a single ply Klik belt through it that we custom made the length, and we tested it against an actual size medium men's belt to see if they broke the same. And we suspended that car on the Las Vegas Strip and spun it around. Then we picked up an 800 pound monster truck tire. And then we've had clients, we've had another YouTuber that pulled a full size Ford Bronco, a 1980 model Bronco, uphill
Now,
with
but
our belt.
you're saying some, not gimmicky, but they're
Yeah,
flashy things.
they are.
Back to why you do this, because you
Hmm.
started to go down that road a little bit.
Yeah,
Why do we need those strong belts? You know, these things, that belt's going to save my life when I'm in a helicopter if things are going to
absolutely.
really bad.
Absolutely.
So when you talked about the first people you went to was the fire departments,
Hmm.
you're making the world's strongest belts. How are these, how's your product helping them, and what have you seen it used for?
So what we produced for the fire department was their uniform belt, which is usually a single ply. They're not really hooking anything but a radio to it. It doesn't have to suspend a lot of load. But what they really wanted was something to go on the outside of the bunker jacket or their coat,
Yep.
depending on where you're from. And that way they could put their fire axe and their pick tool and run their hose through it and run upstairs. So really that developed a our first 1.75 inch belt, but it also created the 2-ply version of it because
Right.
some of the guys were like, oh, we need something a little bit more heavy duty. And even our single ply, if one of those guys gets in trouble inside of a burning building and they're like, okay, I'll tie the fire hose off over here and then tie it to my belt, we know the belt's going to make it. It may not be certified, but I can sleep at night knowing that belt's going to save them,
Yeah,
because
that's
we
where I was
do not
going.
market our product as rescue equipment. We can't do that. We'd have to go through multiple certification boards in multiple countries. But we've had safety gear fell before our belts.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So really wanted to cover off on that side of things. If I need that, if I need to trust that piece of equipment,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the stuff I was issued in the military, I trusted it. It was
Yeah.
as a given. I've the people going through our R&D, or we call it the forward development and so on. When they choose it, they're operators. So once that's
Mm-hmm.
come to me, I've got no second guessing to go down. But moving on to the gunfighter side of things, and
Yes, sir.
Your police in your country, there are gunfighters, and you were one. It's a different
Absolutely.
world. And then we've got the gunfighting people out there as well that are actually doing it for fun, and
For
in
sport.
the
Yeah.
3-gun and so on. How does your belt work for the, say, duty belts? I'm guessing that's where you've sort of gone with the police.
We actually don't make an actual duty belt. We you can call it that, but it's not what people commonly think.
No, not the
Some
big leather
agencies
type things.
allow nylon, but most agencies are, in the US at least, wear leather.
Right.
And so what we did is we gave a duty belt option in lighter nylon, easy to clean, super tough.
Yep.
But the difference with your gunfighter people is everybody's a little bit different on their touch and feel. I like a a loose belt, something that twists real easy. I only carry this little firecracker of a pistol, a little 22 or a little 38. They're not carrying a lot of weight. Well, I'll put them in a 1-ply.
Yep.
But then came the 2-ply. And in the 2-ply, that takes a rigidity and doubles it.
Yep.
We're not using 2 pieces of nylon. We actually have some material that we have custom made for us to make the belt rigid. And we're
Brilliant.
not using plastics and things like that other companies do use. They use a sew-in plastic strip or little flexible aluminum sometimes
Yep.
even. And again, we don't want to compromise the belt by doing that. And so we have a material that's custom made for us to our spec, and we test them. We put them to the test every time. But we've got a new surprise, and you're going to be the first one to hear this, and your audience is going to be the first one to hear this. What if you wanted to carry a hand cannon on your side? You want to carry the Desert Eagle 50 or the Dirty Harry 44 Magnum for sport shooting, have a good time, go bear hunting, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
We're releasing a 1.5-inch 3-ply belt just before the
Awesome.
holidays.
Awesome. When are the holidays? Because I mean, I'm on the other side of the world to you
Other
right
side of the
now.
world. Well, we're getting ready. I mean, we're about probably on that launch 20 days out
Yep.
on it before it shows up on the website. I mean, I've literally got one here in my hand right now that I can share with you. And it's not only special because it's a 3-ply, but this is also our new technology in material.
You
So
see the
this belt
rigidity. Yeah.
here is a different nylon. It's a custom spun, very thick nylon. So that was the 3-ply there. This is the single ply in that same material.
Yeah.
Again, notice I can't just spin it like a pretzel,
Yeah.
but it still moves really well. Well, we step up 1 notch to the 2-ply and you can barely turn it.
Yeah.
Now, let me grab the 3. That is a whole
Yeah.
different level of rigidity.
That is. Yeah.
And the stitching that we use down to everything done on the belt is done in Colorado by us, by employees. We're not farming this out. This doesn't go to some other agent. It's a US based business. The only thing not from the USA is the buckle.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're getting those from a very reputable company.
Yeah. And you see that on your website,
Yeah.
Austral Alpine, I think it is called. But
Yeah.
I really wanted to dive into the Cobra buckles and the difference there that from what we used. It's interesting when you've got that belt there. You know, when I was first looking into gun belts and things a couple of years ago, there was the inner and outer belt, and then there was also the rigid belt type thing. So
Yep.
it really looks like with that 3-ply,
That's an 1.5 inches. See, that's just a normal everyday wear belt.
yeah.
So that gives you, with an 1.5-inch belt, you just clamp whatever you want onto it
Yep.
and just go. Now, if you need a combat belt, I offer 1-ply, 2-ply, and 3-ply in a 1.75 inch
Right.
also. And again, that's for an overbelt. And we offer a Velcro option on the inside. So you can Velcro to Velcro. And if you don't have what we call the positive Velcro side of the belt, we make those for you as well. And we do them buckleless. We kind of joke about it that this year we revolutionized KlikBelt. Once we took over the company fully, we announced a new belt.
Yeah.
And we kind of broke the market because it was the first Klik belt not to click. It's called the Stealth.
I
It
did
is
see
a
that on the website. Yeah.
non-clicking buckle on Klik belt. And people were like, I don't know if I like that. And I said, order one and then tell me if you like it. It will feel just like your Cobra buckle, but it's more low profile.
Yep.
It's more casual. It
Yep.
doesn't stick out. You don't look like the tactical guy. It allows you to be low pro if you're in law enforcement, if you're in ops. where you're out in public, but you know you're not displaying anything. It keeps you safe, but it also gives you a belt that will get you through your mission.
You talked about the
But
polymer Cobra buckle before, which really blew my mind when I saw it. So I researched you when we booked for this show a few weeks
yes,
back, and I'd never seen a polymer buckle in there. So again, I've been looking at the different belts with the Cobra buckles, and they look clunky and big and so on. But that's a real game changer. Is that what the
mhm.
industry is moving to, or are you guys kind of the only ones that are rolling with that?
We actually, when they announced that buckle, that they were going to make it, we were the first ones to like order it in a large quantity, and it was a no questions asked. And the way I pitched it at the time to the owner is I said, "You fly a lot, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, "What if you never had to take your belt off at the airport ever again?"
Exactly.
And she goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, you sent me this buckle to come up with ideas. I ran it through a metal detector. There's no metal in it." And I said, "There's no metal in the belt. So we walk right through metal detectors with it. We're TSA friendly,
Yep.
but again, if you need to repel out of an airplane for some reason, you've got something to tie into." So,
Awesome.
but the other claim to fame of the Klik belt actually started with a very simple buckle, because you asked about the history of the Cobra.
Yeah.
And there's a buckle out there, and I don't have it. I left it with the original owner because it was sent to them. But I have a facsimile of it. And this is what's called the Nautic. Let me see. Can you see
Right.
that
Yeah, we
there?
can see that. Yep.
Okay. You see, it's a very thin profile, very
Hmm.
delicate. Well, they had one like this in helicopters a long time ago. It looked very similar. It was more rounded here,
Yeah.
and it was this style connection on both sides. And that's kind of what gave Alpine Austria the idea,
Right.
was that style. But I mean, that buckle held up really well in helicopters, but this outdoes that old buckle by 20x in strength. Um, and so that's kind of how it evolved. It started with a very simple buckle, very thin, and the Nautic kind of pays homage to it. And the Nautic, the other thing about it is it's a stainless,
Yep.
low profile, but it is kind of large. It goes on an 1.75 inch belt. But this is for people who are going to be doing mariner type things. You're going to be out on the ocean. You need stainless steel,
Brilliant.
so that way it doesn't get all corroded up and ate up by the salt. So.
James, you're clearly passionate about um, the products, which is
Mhm,
great because I get to know someone in the show. I get to know about the journey in the show, and so I can now say the word products.
mhm,
Um, and you're clearly involved in it, which is great to see. Made in Colorado, but the history of it because you're involved so deeply. You're not a sales guy, which is great.
mhm.
I want to ask you maybe a tough. Oh, it's probably not tough for you, but tough for some people here. What would be the difference between buying a cheap Chinese gun belt with a Cobra looking buckle and what you guys have? Because let's be real, and I've just come out of teaching 100 airsofters a
Mhm.
few things. Don't
Right,
don't
right.
judge me out there, people. They're very nice people, but none of their stuff was legit. So what's the difference between, and I'm generalizing, a cheap copy and what you
Okay.
guys actually produce?
Well, when we talk about the cheap copy, if you look at the copy buckles that are out there, none of them have a kilonewton rating. They're not a rated buckle. That thing could give up at 100 pounds. It could give up at 10 pounds. Who knows?
Mm,
Most of them are using um, a non one piece buckle. So like this unit here, there's no bolts, there's no holes. That is pressed together to get
yeah.
that slider in there. I've literally, we've got a video on our YouTube channel that you can see how this is pressed. And then the other thing with this body here is the only pins you have hold in the ears that you push to unclick and click your belt.
Mm-hmm.
So that one piece, simple, beautiful, elegant, strong design gives less margin for error. The other thing is we talk about their nylon versus our nylon.
Thank you.
Again, I had a weave. We tried the other nylon and we're like, it's okay. Everybody else is using it. Let's try it. And that's the way it went for a while. But then I go, let me see if I can get a color that will do really well on camera here. So just as an example, this is multicam
Yep.
that's made specifically for us. The pattern is tighter than your standard multicam. It's a thicker threading in the weave. And then let's pull up a competitor belt. Notice what's wrong here.
Yeah.
Look at
Exactly.
how easy that is just to pick that apart. Okay. Do you
Yep.
want this? Do you want to depend your life, your survivability on this? I don't. And I don't expect any of my customers and friends and family who wear the Klik belt and truly, depend on it day to day. And then like with our materials, the other thing is I can get one thread and it was the thread that we used to stitch it that I didn't cut, kind of thing. But all of our materials are like that. But the Klik Tech that I showed earlier, that new material, it's only available in our black line right now because what we're doing is we're getting rid of the second generation materials in other colors, but we already ran out of black. So we're already giving Klik Tech out there to the people, and we're already getting great responses.
Brilliant.
And
Brilliant.
the other thing, will the Chinese manufacturer give you a refund if you're unhappy for any reason? Will they pay for you to send your belt back?
That's brilliant. And it really is. I was, for many years, I do sleep, stress, and nutrition coaching. And I
Mhm.
mentored under a friend of mine, one of the best guys in New Zealand at what he does in business. And he taught me that same thing, James. Do a 100% money back guarantee, because you never get bad mouth from someone. Someone doesn't have a bad taste in their mouth at all because they've lost
Mhm.
nothing at all. It's just like, oh, well, it just wasn't for me, or something happened. It's a ballsy thing, James, to have a 100% money back guarantee, like you've essentially said there. I'm paraphrasing, but that's
Well,
great to
and
hear.
imagine this: you've had your belt 5 years, and you started a new workout routine, and you're doing great, man. You're shedding the pounds, you're getting shredded. Your waist size changes. I got an email today. Hey, man, I've been, for the last year doing this new diet, and I've lost 100 pounds.
Wow.
I emailed this guy back and I go, send me your belt and I will remake it for you at a discounted amount. And when I say discounted, we're talking, depending on the size of the person, $25 to $30. And what we do is when we get your belt, we literally scalp it. We cut the belt off the buckle.
Yep.
We use your existing buckle. There's history there. This
Yes.
guy's been around your waist. He's not worn out. He's still good.
Yep.
He's ready to go back into the fight. And we just put the new nylon there, sized perfectly for you. And another secret, all of these belts that I've been showing you,
Yep.
which they call me the man of many belts, and I don't know why. Um, I prefer the man with all the belts because I have every single one. I design them. So um, besides the having all the belts and everything, the big thing is if they need to resize them, make it right for the customer. And the other thing is I've got an email today. Hey man, I've had my belt for 5 years and it started doing this. And what it was doing is it was fraying on the edge
Yep.
where it goes in and out of the buckle, where you put your holster clip on, off, and on over and over. And he goes, I don't know what to do. That was in the email. And I go, sir, check your inbox. I already sent you a label to your email address to send that belt back, and we'll take care of you.
Ah,
What do I owe you? A thank you.
ah,
That's it.
that's
And
awesome.
the funny thing is the guy emails back and he goes, hey, thank you for taking such great care of me, but I don't know what to do because I'm sending you my only belt.
Oh, yes, of course.
And I was like, let's do one better. I'll make you a belt. I'll ship that belt to you, put a pre-addressed return package inside, and there you go. You're never without a belt. And then I said, if, in my situation, I always have two or three of the same belt. That way I never miss out on having a good belt
Yeah.
around my waist.
Customer service is not easy to find nowadays, James. That's really, really cool to hear. I've got my own story. My Benchmade
Mm-hmm.
knife. The guys from the unit got this for me when I left.
Mm-hmm.
So 2009, and it's 2023. Well, it was getting pretty worn, and I emailed it to email Benchmade, and they said, "Yep, send it over." And they had to replace everything except, just as you said, this has seen life. They had the scales that I've had since 2009. They kept
Yep.
those on it, which is beautiful because it's meaningful. It's only a little thing. The belt's
Well,
only a little
and
thing, but it's personal. And I'm stunned
yes.
at your passion and your not empathy, but you're on the same page as the end user because you are one.
Yeah.
I want to transition just to tie it all in a bow, which has been really cool finding out about this stuff. Is it started as a Kickstarter
Mm-hmm.
2014? You came in a couple of years later. How's
Mm-hmm.
ClikBelts going now, 2023, and where's it going to be going in the future?
Oh goodness. Where it was when I kind of took over is I had left the marketing firm. I had been away from ClickBelts for about a year or so, and the owner calls me up and one day and offers the company, and that gave such a great price. The instant answer was yes. I mean, there wasn't. I need to think about it. I need to talk to somebody. And then me and my business partner, his Travis, you spoke with him.
Yep.
Me and him literally that week got in a U-Haul, went and picked up all of the stuff from Texas and moved it to Colorado.
Hmm.
And the changes that we've made in the product line, the Klik Tech, the Stealth Belt, the three ply has been in testing with law enforcement, with firemen, handful of Marines, handful of Army. We've had some British SAS using
Yes.
it and giving us feedback on that.
Brilliant.
And so we've gotten all that feedback. We've made the final changes, final revisions are done. It's ready to go. All we need is somebody to do is come take a picture of the smiling belt on the stand. Um, but the changes that we see going forward is simplify the lineup for people, because we found that people felt lost when you have this many colors,
Yep.
you know, oh my goodness, and then you add 15 colors of buckles.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to spend that long there, nobody does. And so what we did is we really cut it down to the nitty gritty. You're going to be able to get gold, you're going to be able to get the gunmetal and black buckles all day long,
Yep.
every day. Those are always in stock. And then we'll have seasonal offerings like red or blue that will come on and off of the website. And then I work with them to get combo buckles. And what a combo buckle is it's like blue and green.
Yep.
Oh shoot, I forgot to grab our Jimmy Buffett belt. We're giving away 3 belts that are
Wow.
very custom. They are flame. They're they're kind of like a tie-dye color. The belt itself is tie-dye color, and it's got a red and blue combo buckle on it.
Wow.
And we're only making 3 of them. And all of that money is going to one of Jimmy's favorite charities
Oh,
in his honor. The other thing we see changing a lot in KlikBelts this next 2 years is again simplification, but it's also just getting the entire product line over to KlikTech and everything good there. We are talking about doing some tactical slings,
yep.
and there was some attempts at making rifle slings before, but it was more of the over-the-shoulder dad hunting rifle sling.
Right.
I want one for operators. I want one operators will love because it keeps the weapon where it needs to be and keeps it where it's not supposed to be. And it also helps you keep good retention of the weapon if there is a hand-to-hand situation that you couldn't get up to fast enough.
That's a Pandora's box you're opening right there, James.
It is.
That's,
It is literally, it is something I lose sleep over at night.
Yeah. Oh,
because
you
we'll do a strap over the chest, like you see a lot of those, that have the off angle strap. I hate it. I hate it for a reason. I used them. They weren't great. They got very uncomfortable. You get sand between you and that belt, especially in a desert environment. Not comfortable.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it pleasurable. And it's like I said, I don't just make that decision. People I trust in law enforcement, special forces, they get them for free to test and to give me feedback. And I had one guy, he sent it back to me and it was clean. And I'm like, no. I'm sending this back to you. Break it. Try to break it. And about 6 months later, we got it back, and that really turned into one of the prototypes we're very seriously thinking about.
Awesome.
And the other thing is we are looking at potential product line besides belts. The parent company of KlikBelts is Rocky Mountain Outdoor Gear.
Oh, really?
So we can very quickly go to new products, but we've had a lot of customers ask for a tool belt. Believe it or not, they want an 1.75-inch rugged tool belt that will just last.
It's funny you say that. Funny you say that because being an operator and having good gear, when I go down the hardware store to get a tool belt, it's the most useless thing ever. Crappy
They're gimmicks.
plastic buckles. Yeah, they're gimmicks. Yeah, you nailed it. This would be great to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, even when it comes to something as simple as a key holder, that is one thing we look at is, okay, let's make a KlikBelts key holder. That is about as heavy duty as it gets without being a 8 to 10 kilonewton or more D-ring, which would be gigantic. And this is triple stitched, just like our belts. It's super, super heavy duty. And it's, again, not a gimmicky thing. What if something catches that? What if, kind of situations we look at? The other thing, like I said, with clothing line, it would be a no gimmicks kind of situation. We're not into gimmicks. We've done things in collaboration with people like Grunt Style. We did some sweaters with them and t-shirts and things like that for raising funds for charities. And we have a good sense of humor, but we don't want to do what's been done.
No.
And it's the same with the Klik belt. People go, well, I'll go get the Chinese knockoff, or I'll go get the name brand out there. And I'll say, let me know when it breaks and I'll give you a discount on a Klik belt.
Yeah, you're so passionate about your product because you trust it, and through this whole interview, you can see the process of how you've got to that, which is absolutely brilliant. Look, prior to this show, there's always an intro. There's a video intro that I do with the show
Mhm.
notes, and it'll say, where to find out more and where to go to. But just for the end here, where is the best place for people to purchase a KlikBelt from, and do you have another social media avenue as well?
Absolutely. So the best place to actually find us is at KlikBelts, and let me spell that because not everybody gets it right. It's KLIK belts.com. And we are also on Amazon. And so you can purchase from either place. We'd prefer you to purchase on website, but Amazon, if you like shopping there, we don't want to stop you. And we're available on basically Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere.
Beautiful.
So YouTube. The only thing we're not on is things that you only get 5 seconds to say something interesting.
No, that's gimmicky. James, look, it's been absolute pleasure interviewing you. Thank you for starting my morning off with some real passion. It's nice to have that. And look, really cool to hear the evolution of KlikBelts. And I wish you all the best for the future. I'll put you in contact with some of my contacts as well, so hopefully that'll help
Awesome.
the growth. But I just love seeing good people do great things, and you're doing that along with Travis. So I really appreciate your time, and loved having you on the show.
Thank you so much. And I did forget one thing.
Sure.
ClickBelt saves lives is the other
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
For every ClickBelt purchased, um, starting this year because we took the company, we are donating a good amount of proceeds, not pennies, we're talking dollars, to charities that benefit firefighters, police officers, militaries, and families. Because when the police officer, firefighter, or veteran is killed in the line of duty, sadly, sometimes there's nobody there to take care of the family. And so we contribute to numerous charities on that, including partner charities with some of the other brands that we work with.
I'll get a
And
list of those charities and put them in the show notes, because that's super important to just raise
absolutely.
awareness for them. We just had the SEALs and some of the other guys on with Folds of Honor and so on, and just super important to raise awareness for those charities. I'll put them in the show notes, and I really appreciate you adding that in. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and it was a pleasure meeting you, and hope to hear good things from your audience.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for your time, James. I'll hit pause. We have a chat. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Hi. Thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former Special Forces operator, and check out my new project for 2023 at hownottodie.com.au, where I've combined all my Special Forces training and police officer experience to help others. Thanks for watching.